Welcome to WiredToHunt's Whitetail How-Tos, where we provide a step-by-step tutorial for one important deer hunting task. Doe bedding areas are something that come up a pretty good amount in the world of deer hunting for good reason. Bucks love doe bedding areas, and if you hunt bucks at all, you should love doe bedding areas. So I want to talk a little bit about how to identify one of those, when you should hunt them, and finally, how do you actually get set up on a doe bedding area to be in such a position that you can get a shot at one of those bucks that passes through. So first off, what does a doe bedding area look like? It can look like a lot of different things. Does are not as picky when it comes to choosing where they bed as bucks are in some habitats, but there are a few things that can serve as general rules of thumb. Number one, does will typically look for some kind of better cover than what else is available. If you had a big open stretch of timber, and then within that large open stretch of timber, there was a couple acres where it got thicker and bushy and there's raspberries or some other kind of brush, you could say, well, this is probably where some deer are bedded. Another thing to take a look at is possible topography coming off of ridge. Spurs, knobs, points coming off of ridge lines, all of that usually leads to an advantageous place for deer to bed in general, bucks and does. Now the question is, how do you tell the difference between a doe bedding area and a buck bedding area? Bucks might more often be farther down the point, does might more often be farther up. If I saw a bunch of beds all around, that's gonna tell me this is a family group. There's does bedded here. If instead I saw just one big long bed at the end and then some rubs, that's gonna tell me, okay, that more likely is a buck, right? Bucks usually bed more isolated. Does almost always are in a family group, 3, 4, 7, 8, 10 deer together. Of course, in-person intel is the very best thing. If you can get out in the woods and watch where those does head back to, that's gonna clue you in for sure on where they're bedded. Why does this matter? Bucks want to know where the does are during the rut. When mating season is going on, bucks are going to be traveling from doe bedding area to doe bedding area to doe bedding area looking for females that are ready to breed. So if you are hunting during the rut, one of the very best things you can do is set up near or right inside of those doe bedding areas. So if it's late October, anytime really in November, this is the kind of area that I'm gonna be keying in on. I'm gonna be looking for those thick areas. I'm gonna be looking for these knobs coming off of here that are kind of brushy where likely does will be heading to feed. And I'm gonna be thinking about, all right, how are these bucks traveling to these spots? Where are they coming from and how are they passing through here? A general rule of thumb is that bucks are gonna wanna travel on the downwind side of a bedding area so they can get a sense of what's in there without needing to walk through the entire thing themselves, right? They're trying to be efficient, they're traveling from location to location. The easiest way to do that is to pass through the downwind side. I've got some brushy cover up here, I'm on a knob, there's some old beds. What are the prevailing winds gonna be come November 1st or November 10th? Let's hypothetically say they're gonna come across like this. I wanna get on the downwind side of that doe bedding area because that's probably where the bucks are gonna be passing through. The next thing I'm thinking about, where are they actually gonna pass through? Is it gonna be right on the edge of the thick brush? Is it gonna be just inside the brush a little bit? Is it gonna be way downwind? There's gonna be different terrain features or cover features or sign that can help tell that story. Look for those spots within the spot. The doe bedding area is the general spot. You need to then narrow down, within an acre or a half acre exactly where you need to be. What you wanna try to find is something that will concentrate a little bit more movement on that downwind side. Because as a bow hunter, you don't want to hunt a 2-acre spot and just say, well, I'm downwind of this 2 acres and I'm gonna hope it's gonna happen. I'd really like to find that best spot. So many times that's gonna take this little bit of detective work, looking for where the primary scrape area is on the downwind side, or maybe looking for where that faint trail that runs along the edge is, or maybe it's looking for that rub line along the downwind edge, or maybe it's sitting there once and then seeing that, oh yeah, a bunch of bucks did come through here, but they actually don't travel on the outside edge, they travel inside the brushy edge. I need to move my tree stand 10 yards closer so I can shoot into the brush. That's some stuff you're gonna have to tweak, you're gonna have to adjust, but the key thing is being in those doe bedding areas, trying to find where stuff gets concentrated, find that spot within the spot, and put in your time. These are great for mornings during the rut, these are great for midday during the rut. It's really hard to go wrong with a doe bedding area. So spend some time scouting, find those spots, spend some time observing during the season to see exactly how does use them, and then get your butt in the tree stand near them during the rut, wait it out, good things will happen. If If you want more information like this, be sure to tune into the WiredToHunt podcast or the WiredToHunt Foundation's mini-series every week. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts.